to the Web Show and a special chat with cycling legend Robbie McEwen. He's been doing it for well over a decade on the world stages, taking victories in the Tour de France and the stages, the Sprinters champion 3 times, wins all over the world, and probably one of the best sprinters of all time, that's for sure. Always doing Australia proud and right amongst it. He'll be there again in the Tour de France this year. So it was fun to come back from Bali last week and to take the camera over to Nobby's Beach to a cafe called Piccolo. Very popular spot at Nobby's Beach with Simon and the boys for a quick chat with Robbie. And he's about to have a race this weekend in Australia actually, but it reminded me of an old radio moment when he certainly smashed me about 7:30 in the morning live on the Gold Coast. This is what went down.
Over through to January, so I get the summer so I can get out in the sun, get out on the beach and just relax.
Now I've got to ask this, in the Tour de France applies for something like 23 days, which is just nuts. I mean, how sore is your butt after a race like that?
Lovely.
Not as sore as Togsy's after a long weekend.
Oh! Yeah, oh my God, Robbie Sprinters champion, cycling legend there. Here's a career highlight, mate. Now after that, I really just want to punch you in the head. What do we got to give away?
Yeah, it was definitely one of those times on the radio when I just had nothing. He just absolutely smashed me, and when I'm home on the coast, people still remind me of that moment. So live on the air. Good one, Robbie. Here he is at Nobby's Beach, Robbie McEwen. Nobby's Beach at Piccolo Cafe. Robbie McEwen, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, good, thanks, Togsy. Going good.
Mate, I love doing a show about stories. So how did you get into cycling? Was it Mulga Bill, the poem, Mulga Bill? You read that one?
That was one of my favourite stories when I was at school. I only went through to about grade 4, but yeah, I got Mulga Bill imprinted on my brain when I was a little kid. Yeah, loved it.
So how did it come about, mate? Seriously, like the racing, how did it come about?
Yeah, when I was a little kid, did what most kids did in the 80s. I rode my BMX all around the neighbourhood and everywhere, and menaced the whole neighbourhood, and then got into BMX racing. So parents took us up to the local track and really got into it. I did that for about 9 years and went all over the country and racing national titles and all that sort of stuff, and did the Worlds when they were in Brisbane in '89. Did pretty well in the BMX, won a couple of national titles, was 6th at the Worlds, and then I sort of thought, well, this seems like about as far as I can go with this, and I felt like a change. So I just went surfing for a few months after that and hit the gym and just did stuff that 17-year-olds do, you know, got a car and that, and discovered girls, and then I had a mate who I used to race BMX with who started cycling, and I thought I'll give that a go too, and I wanted to go and ride on the track. I'd seen track racing on TV at about 1982, Kenrick Tucker Commonwealth Games, Brisbane, and I thought that looks unreal how fast they can go on the track, so I wanted to give it a go, and yeah, just rolled on from there, went to the track, got a road bike as well, started racing with a local club, and step by step just went on and on.
Now, take us through the career a little bit then, mate. Give us a bit of a rundown of the things you achieved. I know you've done well in the Tour de France, but if you had to do your own little resume, what would it consist of?
I suppose you'd say in the early 90s went from club to state to national level. Did a couple of big international races, amateur races, got taken on through the Australian Institute of Sport, the road cycling program. 94 and 95 I stayed with the national team, travelled to Europe, won a heap of amateur races over there, also some pro-ams, so against good seasoned pros. Got my first contract offer that I signed 1996. Turned pro with a Dutch team, rode with them for 4 years. In my 4th year as a pro, 99, I won my first Tour de France stage on the Champs-Élysées in Paris. I've now been a pro for 13 years. I've ridden 11 Tour de France's, won 12 stages in the Tour, won 3 green jerseys. Yeah, I guess that's the main sort of highlight, apart from 12 stages in the Tour of Italy, 5 times Paris-Brussels, 2nd at the World Championships. So far so good, and still enjoying it. Like I said, I've been pro for 13 years now. I've just signed on for another 2. I'm now 36, at an age where a lot of professional sportsmen are starting to wrap it up or thinking about wrapping it up, and
can't get rid of you.
No, I'm not going to go away that easy. I'm a real bad stain. Yeah, it's not just going to wipe me out.
So, mate, you know, Australia, so many sports here, you know, the footy, the cricket, we've got everything here in Australia, so huge. What's cycling like over in Europe? It's just massive, isn't it?
Yeah, here, I suppose if you rolled in rugby league, AFL and cricket all into one, that's almost what you've got cycling at in Europe as a sport, as a mainstream sport. I mean, there's one thing bigger, and that's soccer, what they like to call football, and I mean, that's, for them, that's bigger than religion pretty much. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger, so cycling's sort of the second biggest sport in Europe after soccer. Here it's becoming more and more of a mainstream sport. Maybe not on the participation in races, but just participation, people riding, like you just see them everywhere. There's more bikes sold in Australia each year than cars for the last 8 years or something, so that's how popular cycling is. And I mean, it's a great way to exercise, and people love it, and then they go from there and sort of start getting into the racing, following it. So many people watch and follow and know the Tour de France now, and they're starting to move on from there and look at other events and see what a great sport it is.
So mate, take us back to like the Tour de France, the first time you win a stage. I mean, that's the biggest race in the world, it always has been. What was that like for you when you're thinking, I've got a certain amount to go, I'm in front, I'm going to pull one off here?
Yeah, well, the Tour had always been a bit of a dream. Like, I started watching it in about 1990 or 1991 and just thought it was absolutely incredible. And when I turned pro and I went there for the first time, it was that exciting to be part of an event I'd seen on TV and, you know, seen my, I guess you could say, heroes or idols a little bit at that time, riding it and thinking, oh, how good are these guys? And then there I was in it. But the first tour stage I won, it was in my third Tour de France. So I'd already done, and being the last day on the Champs-Élysées, I'd literally done more than 10,000 kilometres of Tour de France stages without winning a stage yet. So, I mean, I had the pressure on myself and I really wanted to get one. And finally that last day, you're right on the Champs-Élysées, it's a cobbled street and it's quite rough. But that day I was just feeling so good and going so fast. It was like I was just floating a couple of centimetres above the cobbles. And when I came to the front and hit the front, I was like, this is unbelievable. And the rush it gave me made me go even faster. And I just floated all the way across the line. And finally I bagged one. And I got pretty bloody excited and made a bit of a goose of myself. But I'd won the Champs-Élysées, bugger it.
And who's that commentator that does the cycling?
Phil Liggett, they call him the voice of cycling. Great.
How good is he?
Great voice, builds the atmosphere, makes it sound unreal. Doesn't always get the facts right, but that's beside the point, because you never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
He's got to be one of the best commentators in the world, that guy.
Yeah, he's super. I mean, he brings it, and he's got an offsider called Paul Sherwin who he comes with the facts and the really in-depth racing analysis, and Phil, he just brings the atmosphere and makes it so enjoyable for everybody to watch.
Yeah, so it's always cool to get the insight and the story behind the story, particularly a grueling event like cycling, something like the Tour de France. These guys must train like crazy. So it was great to ask Robbie about exactly what he goes through in training.
Well, let's see, when I finish the season in October, I'll take about a month off the bike, so 4 weeks just really relaxing, having a bit of a surf, playing with the kids, just cruising around, playing a bit of golf and that sort of stuff. Once I get back on, I start my build up towards the new season, so every part of the season has a different type of training involved, and when you're coming back off a break, you'll sort of start building up easy. For the first couple of weeks at least, I'll just ride maybe 2 hours a day, 2 to 3 hours, really easy on the flat, up and down the coast. Just getting used to sitting on the bike again for a few hours at a time and just pedaling, nice small gears, nothing too hard, and getting back into the gym. I go to the gym 3 days a week, do a lot of leg and abdominal and back exercises for a lot of core strength and general strength. Through December I'll start building the kilometres up, where I'll start doing between from 500 building up through 6, 7 and up to 800 kilometres a week, where I'll do basically the program looks like this. Monday, Wednesday, Friday I'll do 2 to 3 hours in the morning and a gym session in the afternoon. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday I'll do about a 4 to 5 hour ride through the hills, up over Springbrook, Numinbah Valley, Tweed Valley, Chillingham, back over Terranora, through the Tweed and back up, about 140, 150k. And on a Sunday I'll get out and have a bash in the local club races. So they're just a 1 hour circuit race, good for the intensity, get out and have a go with the local blokes and have a bit of fun. So that's basically the week's training, and as it goes on through December I'll build up for 3 weeks, easy week over Christmas, and then the racing starts here in January, so I'll start to taper off a little bit, go down south, do some circuit races down there for a week, come back here on the Gold Coast, the period I'm in now, starting to taper off again, doing some speed training, bit of sprint work, and then off to the Tour Down Under. And that's the sort of basically the program I'll do every single year. And it's funny, I do the same thing, but it doesn't get boring. When you come back to the Gold Coast to train, it couldn't be anywhere better in the world, especially when I get on internet or talk to the family-in-law. And over in Europe it's like -12, -10, covered in snow. I'm reading on internet about guys saying, yeah, haven't been able to train, it's too cold, it's frozen, it's snowing, and I'm just lapping it up here and loving it. And we get to Down Under, and I like it when the Euros come out of a hard winter, because we go and smash them in Adelaide.
Hey!